How to become a more attractive man and attract your love of your life back before it's too late. So there's a lot of things that you can do to do this, but there's actually three main steps as far as a way of being or a way of thinking. And I cover this extensively in my modules in my course. And if this is something that you're struggling with, maybe you're facing a separation or a divorce, first of all, I'm sorry. I hate that you're going through that. I know the feeling and the emotions that you're going through because I've been there and I've experienced those emotions. I've been through a divorce that I didn't want. Ultimately, I tried a lot of things and some different programs and some things that really did work. But ultimately, to a woman, when you're facing separation or the potential of divorce, it's not really about all of the things that you do right. It's about the one thing that you do wrong. You can be walking on water for a month and you do one thing wrong, she triggers you, you blow up, and you're back to square one, or so we think, because in her mind, you're not only back to square one, you're further back than when you started. She's really made up her mind. It's called confirmation bias. So what are some things that you can do today to turn the tides in your favor? Hit that like and that subscribe button so you continue to get this content. That's one of the things that you can do. Okay, but the three things that you can do, there's some things that we're going to talk about before we get to those three things. The first thing that you can do is create curiosity. And one of the ways that you can create curiosity by the love of your life, and one of the things that you can work this in your favor to try to attract her back, is that become curious to her by becoming different. And what I mean by becoming different is there's a lot of things that you can do to change how you look or how she perceives you outside of the norm. And for a woman, anytime they're curious about you, that's something that's always going to help turn the tides in your favor. Right now, if she's obstinate, she don't want to talk to you, she doesn't want to talk about the relationship, if you start the process of making her curious and you start the process of making her wonder, that's an attractive trait. Anybody that's curious, that means that you're going to be on their mind. And you can use the illusion and the creation of curiosity to become genuinely a better person that's more attractive to yourself. So what do I mean by that? I mean that look at your life and ask yourself, is there anything in my current life that I would like to change about myself? And I'm going to cover that closer to the end about what are the three things and how do you actually get there and understand that. It kind of goes back to the concept, you know, like if you have children or you've had nieces or nephews or family member and they're about to graduate high school and they're trying to figure out what they want to do with their life. And so what I'm reteaching you is something that maybe you've never been taught before, or if you have been taught, maybe I'm teaching you a new way of doing this, of what do you want with your life? And now that you're separated or you're facing a divorce, you have an opportunity to do something different. If you're watching this video, I'm guessing what you've been doing so far isn't working. So don't, you know, isn't that, I think the definition of doing the same thing over and over, like you're on a hamster wheel, is not going to get you anywhere but the same results that you've been getting so far. And maybe you've made some progress, but now you've lost the progress because she triggered you and you changed, or she sees that you're the old person that you were. You can change that by creating curiosity in her. The way that you create curiosity is you start changing. Start changing what you're doing, start changing who you are. In the beginning, maybe that's a little bit of fake it till you make it, but I never want to teach anybody fake it till you make it. The first few days that you try something, of course it's not real, but as you start walking in a new way of being, it eventually becomes real. So the goal here is not to manipulate your long-term relationship lover or your wife and attract her back that way, because if you do it that way, she's just going to leave again because it's not real. We want to create lasting change in you. And so I want you to start thinking, get out a pencil and paper, text yourself, I want to create curiosity, and start thinking, what are some things that I can do to make her curious? And I'm going to help you with that at the end of this video. So curiosity in the way of you actually being genuinely changed, okay? So the next thing is one of the ways that you can create curiosity that you're probably not practicing now is I want you to become a happy person. And I want you to become genuinely happy. So when I was facing separation with my wife, okay, and I tried all these different things that didn't work, and I was in a first marriage that ended after 25 years, and I tried a lot of things to save that marriage. Most men don't file the divorce. 70% of divorces are filed by women. I was in a first marriage that I had children in that. I wanted to save the marriage. I tried a lot of stuff, and a lot of those things worked. But then she triggered me, and I blew up, and that put me back to square one, and it ended up in a divorce. So fast forward, I'm in a new marriage, and now I'm going through some of the similar things, different circumstances, but I was in a separation, and we didn't know what to do. And ultimately, I was going to lose the marriage because I was trying some of the things that I tried in the first marriage, and I saw some wins. But ultimately, I knew that if I made one mistake or maybe two mistakes, that this marriage too was going to end in divorce. So I started trying things differently. I started doing things the opposite of what I felt. And I studied and all this stuff I studied, I started making notes of what worked, and ultimately that's what's in this program. How did I get my wife back? One of the things that I did was I made a decision, no matter what the circumstances, to be happy. And I was going to make that decision to be happy under any circumstances. And listen, I know this is probably something you're thinking like, how can I even do that? I'm facing divorce. I'm not happy. I'm upset. I want to work on the marriage. And I'm here to tell you that your strong desire and the story that you're telling yourself that you have to work on the marriage in order to save the marriage, friend, I make a new proposal to you. Working on the marriage is exactly what's not working. But I want you to think about this. Do you know anyone on the face of the planet that's ever divorced a happy man or a happy woman? I've never heard of that. If this spouse is happy, the person that's divorcing would be crazy to divorce them. It just doesn't happen. No one divorces a happy person. Now, if you're saying, how do I be happy? Or you're thinking, well, I can be happy. I can tell you let me tell you something I did with my kids, and I do with my grandkids, and I did with myself when I was facing a divorce, and it worked with my kids, it worked with my grandkids, and when I tried it on myself, it worked with myself. Anytime my spouse, even today, if she says something that would have triggered the old Denver, and maybe Denver's having a minute because let's say I've worked 80 hours, I'm tired, my voice is going out from doing conferences, or I'm talking, and maybe I'm not in the best mood. Maybe I'm having an allergy attack and I'm just not in the best mood. And if she says something that would even cause me to think that I want to say something negative, this is what I did. You can practice it, and I still do it. If she says something where I would have a tendency to nag or bitch about that, today I will tell myself, shut up, shut up, shut up. Shut up, shut up, shut up. Shut up, shut up, shut up. I'm a Virgo. Virgos have a tendency, we're blessed by God to see the problems in every situation. And that's a wonderful blessing, because when I see problems, I always know the solution. Unfortunately for all of us on this video today, when you see the solution for your wife, you never want to tell her the solution, because you're the last person on the planet that's going to change her by telling her what she needs to change. That's part of your problem. So when you feel the need to criticize, critique, or tell her what she needs to change, you can be happy and tell yourself silently, or if you need to, go to the restroom if you have a thick door, or go to the basement, or go outside, or get in your car, and tell yourself 3 times over and over and over, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. Now let's say she's triggered you and you're really not happy. Go in the bathroom, look in the mirror, and tell yourself, I am happy, I am happy, I am happy. This seems ludicrous, but psychologically, it's a scientific fact that if you fake a smile and you hold it in position and you say, I am happy, I am happy, I am happy, it works and it actually makes you happier. It releases endorphins into your body. It has a chemical that's literally released into your brain that literally, physically, chemically makes you happier. Tell yourself, I am happy, I am happy, I am happy. So let's say this. Let's say you're about to meet your spouse for a business meeting. Maybe she's agreed to a date, but whatever the cause is, you have anxiety around that. I know that when my wife and I were separated, there were some times where she agreed to meet me for a meeting. I don't remember if it was a date. Well, a couple times it was like a date she had agreed to, like as things started progressing. But I knew that I had anxiety around that. I was going to be uptight. And I know that when I'm uptight, I'm more likely to say something that is critical. And so I'm not suggesting that you do this, but one of the things that I did was I would Uber to the location, because I knew I'm not a drinker. Like I only drink like a few times a year, like at weddings or something like that. I literally would have a couple of drinks to relax me, to help me be more calm in those situations, which helped me say, I am happy, I am happy, I am happy. And then it was a lot easier to silently tell myself, shut up, shut up, shut up. If she started talking about, oh, I want the divorce and I need this or whatever, listen, stop disagreeing with her and just be happy about everything. And that's attractive. She's not going to divorce a happy man. If you're happy about the divorce, it's okay to say, you know, I really don't want the divorce. But if you want the divorce, you're a separate person. Maybe you're right. I see your point. Just be happy about it. And her brain's going to start saying, oh my God, that's going to make her curious, okay? And this needs to become a way of being, because that's what makes it genuine. Wouldn't you be a happier person if you just chose to be happy in all circumstances? This is part of what I'm talking about in the course, where I talk about, as the men going through my course transition into different men and a new way of being, then you start focusing on, why not enjoy the journey, that it's not just about the destination, that my life and the happiness of my family and my wife and my children is more important than their certificate, okay? So this is one of the things. Once you become a happy man in all circumstances, this starts the process of telling your wife or your long-term relationship lover that, wow, if this guy is always happy, then I can tell him anything, because now you're emotionally safe. In my program, we talk about when she leaves you, you're on top of the mountain, you're standing way up here by yourself, you're the king of the mountain, and she's walked down the mountain away from you, and she's decided to go down by the river where it's safe. And she's down there drinking from the cool spring, and she's looking up at some asshole on top of the hill that nobody wants to be with. You have to start the easy process, even though it goes against the very nature of your DNA of what you feel like you should do. You easily start walking down the mountain towards her. And as she looks up and sees you coming down, you become more attractive, especially as you decide to be happy. And you stop being resistant to taking the easy steps down, which require no work, just a different way of thinking. And as she sees you coming toward her, she's going to start testing you. And she's thinking, oh my God, who is this? This is so attractive. This is so masculine, right? So these are some things. The next thing that you can do, and by the way, the 3 steps, I haven't forgot about them. We're going to get to them, because the 3 steps, they're what makes all of this make sense. And I'm about to get to that. The next thing that I want you to get out a pen and paper and write down is, what is your calling on your life? Why has the Creator put you on this earth for this season? And guess what? It might not be what you were here for last season, because there are different seasons in life. And if you are still living in the last season and you're supposed to be in the new season, you're going to be frustrated. You're going to have anxiety. You can't be happy. It's impossible, because you're frustrated and you don't understand what the heck is going on. So what season are you supposed to be in? And I'm going to help you figure that out in just a second. But what is your calling on your life? And if you're sitting here thinking, well, you know, it's your current job, and maybe it's a high-income job. Listen, I was in a 7-figure income job with over 6-figure in income per month. And I realized that even going through that, I'm separated. And I'm not necessarily happy, and I'm frustrated, and I'm about to get a divorce here. And I started thinking about, what is my calling? And I knew part of my calling was to leave a legacy of generational wealth to my children and my great-grandchildren. But the way I was going about it was not the calling that the Creator has me here for this season. This is actually my calling, to serve you and help you. And so I was able to figure out a way, with what I'm about to cover here in just a moment. How do I do this and serve my clients all over the world in different areas of their life that they need coaching to bring about transformation to achieve the results that I know you're supposed to have in your life? And I was able to do that. So here's how I did that, okay? So remember, I want you to write this down before we move forward. Shut up, shut up, shut up. I call this the Jericho factor. In the Word, they were commanded to march around the wall 7 times. And the only thing that God told them to do as they did that was shut up, shut up, shut up. Shut up, shut up, shut up. Whether you're a believer or you're not, the principle will bear the fruit in your life that you're wanting. Nothing comes from your mouth telling your lover, telling your wife what she needs to do that will never bear the fruit of what you want it to bear. It will never bear the fruit of what you want it to bear. Now, in a few months from now, or a year from now, when you've been through this program once, or maybe you decide to go through the program 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. I have some people going through on their 7th time. When you get to the point that you are the 1% man of the 1% in every single area of your life, that's when you are in a position to be a soulmate with your spouse. Then criticism can have a role, but you're a long way from there if you're watching this video, okay? So how do you figure out who you are? And this seems cheesy, but I'm telling you, if you get this down, this is going to change your life. Who are you? Who do you get to be? Okay? So we're going to talk about that. What's not working for you is there's a lot of stuff that you're doing right now to try to save the relationship that's not working. And I have a whole nother class on that for that. Denver Griffin, 10 strategies that never work. You're implementing one or more of those strategies now. This is something that you need, all of those things you need to stop doing if you're doing them, and you for sure are. But what you need to start doing is figure out, who are you? Who am I? Now, when I first started asking myself that question, I'm going to tell you the answer was, I was at that time, if I looked at everybody in my circle that had knew me for the last 10 or 15 years, they would say I'm a borderline jerk, borderline, maybe not a jerk, I don't think I've been called a jerk, but maybe a little bit of an a-hole, okay? I pushed people to success, I ran sales teams, and I did what was necessary to ensure that they were successful. And so I was very aggressive to the point they knew when they came in my office that the answer always was that I was going to spit out when they walked in, the fastest way is the best way. I loved them. My team would have followed me in water to the bottom of the ocean if I would have said there's water down there. But guess what? I wasn't happy with the life I had anymore. I was facing a divorce. I wasn't bearing fruit in my life in all the areas that I wanted to bear fruit in. And so I had to start asking myself, who am I? Well, when I started asking myself that, I was this person. I was a money-making machine. I was a successful entrepreneur. I led multiple sales teams. I was number one in my industry across several, different grading factors, but I was no longer living my best life. And so in order for me to live my best life, I got to change. I got to say, wow, I'm in a new season of my life. Now for me, you guys are fortunate enough to benefit that I was diagnosed with stage 4 throat cancer, and I was on my deathbed. And as I came out of that, it made me start saying, the life that I had before the diagnosis, is that really the life that I want after the diagnosis? And I said, no, I want things differently. So the way you change who you are is you go to number 3 and figure out, what do you want? What do you want? And so I started asking myself, what do I want? And the first few things I wrote down was I wrote down I want a yellow Lamborghini, and I wrote some other things down that were tangible. There's a few different houses that I had on my goal list that I knew that one day I will purchase these homes. I wanted those for my family. I wrote those things down. I knew there were some things about my physical appearance. I had lost nearly 100 pounds going through cancer treatment, and I knew that I wanted to get back up and look like Mark Wahlberg. So I put Mark Wahlberg on my vision board. That's what I wanted to look like again. I had actually been a lot bigger than him, but I would have been happy just to get back there, which I'm kind of getting there, okay? But I wrote down all these different things that I wanted. Some things got put on that list that surprised me. I wanted to spend more time with my children. When my children were growing up, I didn't spend a lot of time with them because I was always working. Because then, the old Denver, he really wanted more than anything to leave financial prosperity and be able to take care of my parents and to leave a legacy of wealth to my family. and I still wanted that, but my goals had changed. I wasn't interested anymore in being a millionaire. My goal had changed to billionaire. So as I figure out, like, I want all of these different tangible things, but now my financial goals had even changed because I realized, wow, I got a second chance of life. Why do I want to settle for just millionaire status when I can have more? And then I started thinking, okay, if I want more time with my children, now I have grandchildren. I'm at 5 grandchildren today, and more are probably going to be coming soon. So the financial aspect was still there. The 5 grandchildren made me say, millionaire status is not going to cut it. I need to go to billionaire status because there's growing and growing. I have 6 children between my wife and I. Millionaire is not going to cut it. But if I want to be better and stronger connected to my children, I want to be closer to my dad, and I also want to have really tight connections with my grandchildren. How can I have tight connections with my children like I've never had before? How can I have tight connections with my grandchildren like I never had with my children? But now my goal is no longer, my goal is no longer millionaire status, but billionaire. How can I work all the time and still achieve the connection goals? And I'm like, okay, so number 1 is, who are you? We're going to come back to that again in a second. Number 3 is, what do you want? Number 2 is, what do you stand for? Now, I stand for a lot of stuff. But as far as identifying your identity, okay, let's keep this simple for the sake of this course, this class.
Hey guys, I want to share something with you. If you're still watching the video at this stage, I'm assuming that you're getting at least some benefit from the content. I want to give you something else. I'm offering right now a free masterclass, and at the end of that masterclass, I'm giving you an opportunity to apply to work with me. The website to do that is denvergriffin.com/masterclass. And if you're enjoying some of this content, please hit that like button and subscribe. I'm posting YouTube videos daily right now to give you free content in order to help you save your marriage. And I want you to be notified as those videos become available in real time.
I'm a Christian, so I stand for Christianity. But as far as who I stand for in achieving the goals that I want, it's okay for me to stand on my Christianity, but I'm keeping it simple who I am. Who is the person that thinks of me? What you want and what you stand for, you will be happy, and that's very attractive to a woman, because now you are a man on a mission. You are now walking in the path that you were created to walk. Not only will your wife or your girlfriend be attracted to that, everybody will. Your guy friends will start being attracted to you in a way that masculine attraction is intended to be, and they will want what you have. They will become curious about you. You will start increasing in attractiveness in these areas. I like to call it spice. How do I smell to my Creator? And if I smell good to my Creator, I'm going to smell pretty good to my woman. So what does spice mean? Well, it's how we smell to our Creator, how we smell to our woman. How do we become more spicy? It's an acronym that I created. S stands for spiritual attractiveness. If you don't want to increase in these attractiveness in some of these areas, don't do it. But there are some areas that you should and that you actually want to. But what you need to do is hold yourself to a new standard and even start in one of these areas. S stands for spiritual. Maybe if your lover or your wife was a spiritual person, consider it. Create curiosity. Don't do it through a way that's manipulative, though. If you have no interest in spirituality, test it, see if it's for you. If you have an interest, then dive into it. It will make her curious, okay? The next area is physical. Please, tell me you have diabetes again and that you can't increase your physical attractiveness. That may be true, but it's also a story. So as a man thinks is he. Get past your stories. There's some things that you can do. If you have rheumatoid arthritis and you can't go to the gym, maybe you can go to a tanning booth or a spray tan. There's something that you could do to increase your physical attractiveness. For most of you watching this, get your rear end in the gym. For some of you watching this, you're two-toned. Get out of the gym too much. You're so much in love with yourself. There's a song that I think Justin Bieber sings that. You can go and love yourself. You're up on the freaking mountain and she don't want to be with you. Maybe you need to stop working out so much. Settle for a 4-pack instead of an 8-pack. Okay?
Next area of attractiveness is I. So it's SPI. I is for intellectual attractiveness. What are some reasons and what are some ways that you can become more intellectually attractive? There's a lot of different things that you can do. You can read a book. You can watch the Discovery Channel. You can go on ChatGPT and ask it some questions and figure out what the answers are. There's many ways that you can become intellectually attractive. Download the Audible app. If you're not I'm not really a big reader, but I actually go through and my goal is to read one book a week because I want to be more intellectually attractive. And not only are you going to be more intellectually attractive to women, the woman that you want, you're going to be more attractive to everyone because the more you know, the more you grow. And for somebody that grows up and matures in different areas, it's going to be more attractive to everyone. If you have children, that's going to be more attractive to them. So you always have room for improvement, intellectually attractive. Let's say maybe you're somebody that struggles with ADD. What are some things that you can intellectually do? Did you know that ADD is one of the top 10 reasons people get divorced? So what can you do to control your intellectual attractiveness and managing your ADD? One of the things that I do is I do near infrared light and infrared light therapy. I went on to Hooga, H-O-O-G-A. I ordered an infrared light. Not only did that infrared light cause me to become more intellectually attractive, it helps me manage the symptoms of ADD. And when I say it caused me to be more intellectually attractive, I literally was suffering from chemo brain, and the red light therapy is what cured that for me. So this is one way. So if you're holding on to a story like I could have, saying, oh, I have chemo brain, please feel sorry for me, I can't help it. While that was true, that was also a story that held me back in becoming a higher intellectual person. So I said, you know what? Yes, I have chemo brain. Yes, that's a fact. Those are things that are factual, but what can I do? And I started researching, what can I do? What different vitamins? I started taking lecithin. I started taking magnesium, making sure I was hydrated. And first and foremost, the red light therapy on my brain. Lucky for me, I am follically challenged, if you want to call it that. Some people might call it a solar sex panel. But guess what? The red light therapy caused me to become more intellectually attractive. Because prior to that, I wasn't the man that I used to be intellectually. So maybe you've not experienced chemo brain, but you can improve in your attractiveness to your intellectual attractiveness by growing intellectually.
The next one is in your character. Once you become genuinely happy, listen to me. You might be thinking, oh, my character is on point. If your character was on point, you wouldn't be taking notes on shut up, shut up, shut up, and you would never have to do this. I am happy, I am happy, I am happy. See, that just made me happy. I just released endorphins. It is a character thing. If you're not a happy guy all the time, you're not fully grounded, and you're not as masculine as you could be. You become a happy man, your testosterone will naturally increase. Your testicles will actually start working more to increase your testosterone. You literally will become a more manly man. This is what I call, it's 100% of the time. In the program where I have all of these men that are in the program, not only am I teaching you, and not only am I offering one-on-one calls with you unlimited to answer and help you with anything that maybe we haven't covered yet that you need to address right then that week, okay? You have the men in the program that are also going through the same thing that you're going through. Your situation is not unique, okay? And we're all holding each other accountable. You can't say that what I'm teaching and what I'm telling you to do doesn't work, because for everybody else in the program, we're all going to hold you accountable because it's worked for me and it's working for everybody else. And this helps you change. This helps you change, and it helps you make the psychological decision that if it is to be, it's up to me. Because everybody else in the program that I'm seeing going through the same thing that I'm going through, it's working for them. So it helps you understand that for you to get your wife back or your lover back, it's going to require that you start thinking differently. So as you think, you are, okay? So your character can always be improved, and most of the time, the men that come into these programs, the big areas for improvement for your character is being a grounded man. I call it an alpha male, and sometimes we don't like that word. So far, I haven't used that on any of the video or the content that I've taught because I don't want it to come across as a little, as Andrew Tate. I don't want it to come across like we're trying to dominate our woman. No, we're here to be the strong husbands, the strong protectors, the strong, grounded, stable, masculine men that they deserve. That's where your character comes into play, and you can change this. If you figure out who you are, I am a calm, kind, connected man, and you walk in that. If you're sitting here depressed and you're laid down and you're telling everybody she's gone, you are not following your calling on your life as a man. And until you start doing that and get your ass up off the couch and feeling sorry for yourself, she is not going to want you back. This is what I push in my program. This is why we do it over the course of 7 weeks, and we do it every single day. Tony Robbins calls it immersion. I want you to be immersed in the teachings so that it becomes a new way of thinking and a new way of being to make sure it sticks. Because to her, you change all of the stuff and you get almost to the finish line, and she's about to come back. She's about to move out of the boyfriend's house. She's about to fire the divorce attorney, and she's going to test you, and she's going to test you big, and she's going to push your buttons. And if you blow up, divorce court is back on, buddy, and all the progress that you made, you've lost. So if you need something to bring about permanent change and you're not able to do it on your own just by watching these YouTube videos, visit denvergriffin.com/masterclass, go through that, and apply to work with me. The next thing, SPICE, is emotional. This absolutely is the most important one. Emotional attractiveness, emotional change is actually the number one thing that is needed. And this will change your character. As you change emotionally, remember we said, other programs teach you need to climb a mountain, and it's such hard work, and you really got to work hard to work on your relationship. When you fell in love with your wife, did you work really hard on the relationship to fall in love with her? No, you didn't. You took her out to some nice dinners, maybe, but you guys just talked about nothing. You didn't work on it. You didn't start having problems, and so you started having heavy talk, serious talk, working on it. If you want to work on something, get in the gym and work on this. It will attract her back. Now, if this is 10 times my size, get out of the gym and stop working on that and let it get down to this size, okay? Emotional safety. She needs to know that you're not going to work on it. She don't want to work on it. That's not fun. Fun is curious, and it's fun. Who doesn't want to have fun? Stop working on the relationship. Stop trying to get her to work on the relationship. And when she says, Denver, you know, we went through so much stuff and I just don't want to do it anymore, I want a divorce. But, you know, I've really been thinking about some things, and I apologize to you. By the way, there's one of my YouTube videos on how to apologize. Google that. You need to watch that if you haven't already done it. Probably it's the most important thing, and I cover that in the program too. But I'm telling her, you know, I really don't want the divorce, but also I realize the world doesn't revolve around me. And I understand some of the things that you've told me, and maybe you're right. Maybe it would be for the best. I don't want it. It's not my preference, but we have to live with our consequences. She's going to be like, now she may not show it, but she's going to be like, what the? Who is this? Curiosity. You're creating curiosity. Now listen to me. This sounds manipulative, doesn't it? It sounds fake it till you make it, doesn't it? Because the first time you do it, it's going to be. You can't possibly mean this, but I want you to really get there. Emotional safety. She has to know she can come tell you anything. And what you get to do, the new you, I am a kind, calm, connected man, you get to listen to her. And instead of saying, oh my God, and start telling her she's wrong, we shouldn't get a divorce, that's not in the best interest of the kids, it's going to financially ruin us, it's all these different things, you need to say, oh my God, this is beautiful. Say this to yourself. This woman just lifted the veil to her heart and showed you what's on it. And you're not going to stand the test of time and save this relationship unless it genuinely becomes real. And I'm telling you, I don't know how I'm going to say this, but women are a lot like cats. And that seems crazy, But think about like a great relationship. She's there with you, she's up, she wants to pet with you, she wants to rub up against you and snuggle and kiss and hug you, and then she wants to go off and do her own thing. But she wants to know you're going to be right there when she comes back. And that is a happy woman. And she wants to know that when she comes back, that you're a 1% man. You're a 1% of a 1%. And remember what I tell you, all of you men out there thinking, she needs to do this, she needs to do this. Listen, she don't need to do anything. If it is to be, it's up to me. You can change, and when you change, that is so attractive to her. Do you know 30% of the men that go through my program, I give every man an opportunity to go through it more than once if you want to. If you want to continue the program, you can do that at a drastically discounted rate. And what I see 30% of the time, and that's actually an increasing percentage, that the men will go through the program a second time or third time, and I see their wife coming into it with them because they see their man becoming so attractive that the women want what the man has. Because it's not just some program where I'm teaching you some phrases, and yes, in the beginning we do that because we want to turn the tides in your favor fast, but we want these changes to be real, and we want them to be long-lasting because remember what I tell you I stand for. I stand for legacy and connection. The legacy I want to leave behind to the people that I'm serving is lasting change. And not only am I here to save your marriage, I want to put you in a position that you're leaving a legacy of marriage instead of a legacy of divorce to your children, to your grandchildren, to your great-grandchildren. Do you know that if you're divorced, that statistically your children are more likely to be divorced? How many millennials are in therapy and they'll never get married because their parents went through this weird, crazy nightmare divorce? Even if you've already been through a divorce, you can change the legacy by standing up and show them somebody is willing to go against their feelings and make this change. And I caution you against saying, work for it, because working at the marriage, working on the relationship is exactly what's not working. Spiritual, physical, intellectual, character, and emotional attractiveness. Okay? How do I smell to my Creator? Am I frustrated because in my mind, I am in last season, but my Creator has called me for a new season? And if the person I was in the last season is not going to achieve the goals, the Denver that they used to call me a slave driver, I worked in Miami, I had sales agents that were some of my best friend. He still jokes about this. One of my best friends ever is a Jewish by faith and blood in Miami, and he called me Pharaoh. And I mean, I know that's a bad analogy, but it was something he said jokingly because I pushed him so hard. I pushed him. And you know what? It was like sometimes horrific throughout the week. But at the end of the week, he was like, oh my God, thank you so much. Give me a hug. Called me Big Daddy because my grandchildren call me that. And then now that we're fast forwarding into a new season of my life where I'm going into a new area of serving people and helping people, I don't want to be that anymore because that got me where I wanted to go in my life and that season of my life. But fast forward to a new season of my life where I stand for connection and I stand for legacy, and I want all of the things that the money can buy. I want spiritual connection. I want to please my Creator. I want to be connected to my wife, to my children, and to my grandchildren. So I got to be somebody different. And I started calling myself somebody different. And guess what? I'm still becoming that person, but so as a man thinks, is he. So as a man thinks, is he. It's called the law of attraction. How you start thinking of yourself, God has designed this universe for that to be attracted to you, so as you think that you are. And once you start thinking of a different you, who you now get to be for this season, and by the way, if you're struggling like, who am I? Who do I want to be? You've got to ask yourself, what all do you want? And I would encourage you to take like 3 or 4 days to write down continually and push yourself to figure out what all do you want, because you've been so busy on stuff that you think is important because you think you have to do all of this stuff to save your marriage or save your relationship. And friends, I'm telling you, all you have to do is figure out, what do you really want in your life? Now, what do you stand for? By the way, You've got to kiss this. I call it KISS. Keep it super simple. For some of you, if you're like me, add a third S. Keep it super simple, stupid. Because complicated in your relationship is going to kill it. Complicated in who you are will keep you from getting there. Complicated in a business will ensure that it doesn't survive the test of time. If you don't believe me, Google Southwest Airlines in the 90s. The only airline that didn't file bankruptcy. Why? Because they didn't do assigned seating. You get on the airplane, you sit where you want to sit, and they give you peanuts. Nobody orders anything. They kept it super simple. Simple equals success. That same principle will apply into figuring out what do you want. Now, even though I want you to keep this simple, I want you to think about it. Once you figure out everything you want in your life that's really important, big and small, tangible and emotional and physical with your family, okay? Look at the areas of your life that you can increase in your spice: spiritual, physical, intellectually, your character, and most importantly, emotional. An emotionally safe, strong, 1% alpha man can walk down the mountain. And when you take those first 2 or 3 steps, you're going to be so resistant because you're like, it can't be this easy. It's easy to walk down a mountain, right? But everybody wants to tell you, oh, it's this grueling mountain and you got to listen. I take men and their relationships and their marriages from 0 to hero, but I don't do it by going up the mountain. We do it by you coming down the mountain. You being on the mountain is the problem because you're up there by yourself. So anyway, what do you stand for and who are you? I want a lot of toys. I want to please my Creator. I want to smell good to my Creator and to my wife and to my children. And I can do that through spice, okay? I am a kind, calm, connected man, and I stand for legacy and connection. Once you start telling yourself this about yourself, now you don't have to stand for a legacy and connection, and you don't have to be, some of you are too freaking nice. Some of you are too freaking nice. So you need to be a powerful entrepreneur, or maybe something different. You don't have to be who I am. What season of your life are you in now? What do you want? Who do you now get to be to achieve this? And what are the stand that you stand for? I stand for connection and legacy. That is the most important thing in my life that I stand for, that will get me and help me become the man that I now am, that I'm still becoming, right? And this is what will help me and cause me to achieve my goals. God has